Could you tell us a bit about yourself and what you do?
Oh, right. My name's Stephen Reynolds. I am sales manager for London theatres. I look after 9 of our West End box offices. And within that I liaise between the box office and the producer, the box office and the marketing company, and get involved in all sorts of other things as well. I've also done some historic research into some of our West End theatres, and also get involved with our learning department, helping on student programmes.
And what's your favourite part of what you do?
I think being involved in theatre. Theatre's been such a big part of my life ever since I can remember. So still being able to have a connection with something that's been very important to me, given me a lot, made me very confident. Yeah, I'm just very lucky to be involved in theatre.
When was the first moment you fell in love with theatre?
My mother would say when I fell from her womb, but I can actually remember going to the theatre for the first time. I think this was about when I was 9 or 10, and I went to see a play at my local theatre, which was then the Lyric Hammersmith. Not the Lyric Hammersmith that's there now, it was the old one, which they then knocked down and rebuilt. And it was a play called The Bluebird, and it was so magical to me. It was full of gauzes, and so you get the scene with all the lights focused onto the gauze, so that you just brought the gauze forward. But then all of a sudden they'd light behind, so all of a sudden this scene would appear through what seems to be, you know, thick fabric. So it was magic, and so that's what really got me going. But if you'd asked me whatever age I was, I always wanted to get involved in theatre in some way or another.
What advice would you give your younger self?
Work harder. Yeah, try and find out a bit more. When I originally started, I wanted to be an actor. I was an actor for 25 years. And although I did quite well within that time, my career got to a point where it didn't move on, and I think that's partly my own fault. Sometimes perhaps being a little bit too loyal to people, but also I think not being stronger on myself and being more rigid with myself and doing a little bit more work when I wasn't working to keep myself at the top of my game.
Sure. And finally, if your life were a musical, what would the grand finale number be?
A very good question. Now I've got to think about this for a bit. So, it sounds a bit cliche, but always look on the bright side of life would have to be there somewhere. I certainly think that's very important. It should be a mashup between that and I Am What I Am. And certainly lots of dancing men and women. It should be a joyous occasion, so it would be a joyous musical.